Hi, my name is Dedra Zephier, and today we are going to be pan frying a walleye with a red onion, tomato, balsamic vinegar relish, and we are going to be oven roasting Yukon Golds, beets, squash, and red onions, and it will be great. So we are going to start by making our relish. It's real simple. We're going to concasse the tomato, and basically it's just a fancy way of saying take off the skin. But you take your tomato and you're going to put an X in the bottom of it and just score it right along, and it's not deep, but it assists in taking off the skin. The top, if there is a top on there, you'll want to twist that off. And then over on the stove, we have a pot of water that is just about at boiling point. And it don't have to be a rolling boil because you're not trying to cook your tomato. So this is probably where we want it. I'm just going to turn it down so it doesn't boil. And then we take our tomato and the spoon and we just dip it or drop it. And it doesn't take long. A couple, like 30 seconds maybe. You'll be able to see the skin now is starting to come off, so we're gonna yank it out. And as you can see that the skin's coming off. And I don't want to lose this guy. So we're just gonna use this. And then we're gonna dip it in our ice bath, and that stops the actual cooking process so that it doesn't continue to cook, because you don't want it to cook. And the skin starts to come off right away. And the tomato, as you can see, the skin's coming off real nicely, and that's what we want. All right, and so we're gonna peel this tomato, and the skin should come off really, really easily. And it's super, super slippery, so just keep it on the cutting board so it doesn't get all crazy. And it is a bit messy. All right, so the tomato is concassed, the skin is off, and that's what our goal was. So I'm gonna take this off. And then we're going to cut it hemisphere-wise, I guess you could call it. And that is to easier, remove the seeds. And so we're gonna take our finger, and you wanna get the seeds out because they are so bitter, and they're not, that's what we don't want. We don't want our stuff to be bitter today. And that's one of the other reasons why we're seeding it. And it doesn't have to be, it's not gonna be pretty because it's not, but the goal is to get the seeds out. That knife.
So you say this is a medium dice?
Yeah, this is just medium dice. It doesn't have to be real super small, but I mean, we want it, somewhat small. Make sure we got all the seeds out of there. That knife is so much better. And if there's a core, if you're not going to eat it, don't serve it. There's a core in here, so we're just going to take that out of there. Bite size, small. I just mashed the tomato, I feel like. But it's seasoned. Tomatoes are seasonal, so they're not going to be the greatest right now. So I don't think so. And cut. I'm kidding. So we are going to be slicing our onion next, or chopping it, fine dicing it. To do that, leave the root on. It holds together better, and it's just better in the long run. And we're going to be using the other half for our vegetables, so we're going to save that. Roots and stuff on here. Peel it, obviously. To fine dice is what we're looking for. Give it a couple slices in the middle, and this is going to be what size it is. And the final product, I guess, is what you want to say. And then we are going to slice it down this way. So I cut off the bottom, and then we're going to dice it up. And we want this to be small. We don't need it to be very big because we're not going to be using a lot. It depends on how much you like onion, because onion tends to overpower things at the same time. And we just want it small. And that's probably about the right amount that we need in our relish. And then we're going to mix it in the bowl. Yeah, that looks like that's more than enough. So now balsamic vinegar and olive oil. 1/4 of a cup of olive oil is what it says. This is going to be the moisture, part of the moisture for the fish. And so we don't, depends on your preference. Some would like more. I guess it's really up to you on what you would like. Yeah. I didn't add, I'm probably going to add about half of this because and then we're going to add balsamic vinegar. All right, 1/4 of a cup. I don't think we're going to need that much either. It's not a lot, but and then this is just going to sit in the fridge while we prepare the rest of our dish today. Cayenne pepper we're going to add in, and like I said before, that's a personal preference. So if you like spicy, you can add more. If you don't like it spicy, you don't have to add as much. It does give it flavor. Yeah. And I like spicy, so hopefully my camera guy does too. And salt and pepper. Found these earlier. There we be. We are going to set that in the fridge and let it hang out. To begin our roasted root vegetables, we are going to cut a fresh vegetable beet. They bleed, and so I switched out everything, and I'm wearing gloves just for that simple fact. But I feel that for our oven vegetables, this will hold up the best rather than canned. So yeah, the thing with beets is that you want to make sure that you are getting all the skin off because they have a lot of dirt, and if you want your vegetables to be tasting like dirt, I guess you could leave it on, but I keep saying we're gonna slice, just take off the skin. A vegetable peeler works. However, you want to make sure that you get all the skin off, and so I have a paring knife here, and we're just gonna peel that skin off and leaving none behind. Those are big chunks. And again, they bleed, so anything that they touch is going to turn red. So I didn't use our wood cutting board. Yeah, and wearing gloves. So for our vegetables today, we want them to be about an inch. All the same size is basically what I'm trying to say. And the reason why, so they all cook even in the oven, so one doesn't get done faster than the other. I'm just making sure I got all the skin. So I'm going to just cut this up. And cube size, bite size, whatever you want to call it. And then we're just going to toss it in our bowl here. So this is what it looks like. They're just in there hanging out. I'm going to finish cutting up the rest of these. The squash, we are going to do next. Simple, super simple. Cut off the top, cut off the bottom without slicing your fingers off. Vegetable peeler, again, works great if I can find mine. And we just go along. Squash is high in, I believe, vitamin E, vitamin A. And vitamin A is good for skin and your hair. It helps it grow, makes it super shiny, keeps your face from breaking out. And beets actually are super healthy as well. They are high in, they're low in cholesterol, they're low in saturated fat, and vitamin C. So the squash is going to get super slippery while you're peeling it. So make sure you have it braced well. I didn't. So it's peeled, and then we are going to slice it in half without, and it's seeds in there. This one doesn't have a lot. Just grab your kitchen utensil and scrape them out. My mom had a garden, and we had access to fruits and vegetables. She grew peas and corn and pumpkins and squash and zucchinis, and she would can as well. And we had a little cabinet underneath the stairs, and that's where her canning room was. And it was great. So we had vegetables during the growing season, and then we had canned vegetables during the winter, which was great. Well, so now we are going to dice. We're going to cut these up. The biggest thing is to make sure that they match our beets. Around the same size, because like I said before, we want them to all roast the same temperature, so one's not getting done in front, and before the other. You don't want one to be super mushy and the other one to have that nice texture to it. So this looks like it should be enough. I was going to cut up the other half, but when we mix them together. We want a nice balance. We don't want something to overpower it. So I'm going to just finish up chopping these two, and then we're going to move on to our potatoes after we give them a quick rinse. Yeah. So we wash our vegetables, wash our potatoes. These are going to be skin on because they cook real nice. The skin is great. Again, we want them the same size as the rest of our vegetables. I'm going to switch knives. I can't. And they're about the same size. So Yukon Golds are low cholesterol food. Low in fat, and they're just delicious. I cook with these at home, so I just know that these are like more buttery. Compared to like your russets and like reds are, there's different, it's a different texture. Like the reds, they're more smooth, and the russets are more, they're like grainy almost. It's weird how potato and these, they have such a like buttery taste to them. It's just, I don't know, it's weird, and they're potatoes, so we're gonna finish off with our onion in here. The onion is nothing fancy. For this part we will cut off the root, and then we'll cut off the other half, and we're gonna leave these pretty big because we don't want our onion to get too dark, I guess, in the oven. And it'll give it a nice balance with the other vegetables that we have. And we're not going to trim it in half or anything. We're just going to cut it into nice sized chunks. And yeah, and then we're going to mix it in with the rest of our vegetables. We are going to oven roast these, like I said. Let me get this out of the way. These are going to be oven roasted, real simple. We want to keep them nice and healthy, and we're trying to focus on healthy food. These are really healthy vegetables and whatnot, and so we're going to try to keep it real simple. Olive oil, a little salt and pepper, a little love in the vegetables, because we want to be able to taste the vegetables and not a bunch of heavy seasonings. Salt and pepper is great. Yeah. And we can always add more salt and pepper after it's done cooking. Yeah, definitely. Olive oil. I broke up the onions so that they kind of have a chance to roast as well. Again, your beets are going to dye everything, and as you can see, the squash is already starting to turn. And that's okay. I'm thinking about 1/4 of a cup. I'll measure it out for probably not that much, but we'll do it. Yeah. And I don't have any fun facts on olive oil, so my apologies. I do cook it. The only downfall is that there's not going to be a lot of color on these. Olive oil, you just don't get a lot of color on them. Thankfully, we have beautiful colored vegetables. When you're eating and you're cooking, you want to remember to stick to the color wheel. The more color in your foods that you eat, the more healthy they're going to be. So if you can get 3 to 4 in your meals, it's good. It's a good way to go. We're going to lay these out and give them enough room. We don't want to crowd them up. That's a big thing. We want to get them all enough time to cook. And yeah, this looks really great. This is going to be good. Definitely going to be good. So I'm just going to salt and pepper them, like I said. Keep them simple. Keep it simple. Trying to get salt everywhere. And I like my pepper. I have a pepper grinder at home that I use. Fresh pepper is the best, and it just has a nice kick to it. Lots of love as far as pepper goes. And our oven, I already preheated our oven. It is set at 400, and it's going to take about 35 minutes for these to go. Yeah, so we're gonna stick them in and we'll go from there. So walleye is what I picked for the fish. Walleye is heart healthy for the omega-3s that it's in. Real simple. This is going to take maybe 7 minutes altogether to cook. We have our pan heating, preheating on medium high. The key with fish is you don't want to overcook it. It's real simple: salt and pepper, olive oil. Olive oil, again, like I said before, there's not a lot of color that's going to happen. Hence why we have our relish. That will definitely give us some color. So we shall begin. Just enough oil in the bottom of the pan to give it some, I don't know, something. And salt and pepper. And again, I like pepper, so you don't have to put this much on there. Hopefully my cameraman does too. Salt. And then we shall cook. When we put the fish in, we want to hear it make some noise, cooking, sizzling, something. If it doesn't, that means that your oil's not hot enough and it's not going to do what we want it to do. Hence the noise. We're not going to mess with it too much. We're just going to let it do its thing. We are going to salt and pepper the other side. And turn it down just a bit. So good. Can you smell it? Yes, we fish on Lake Sakakawea, and so walleye was definitely a staple. My father would fish. We would all fish, and we would clean them, skin them, and they would be in the freezer until we needed them. So yeah, definitely like my fish. Definitely. So we're gonna flip these guys. Hopefully, so I don't fall apart. Yeah, that's not gonna take no time at all. So fish, you can have a thermometer to temp it out. Our pan is definitely, and then it's a feel thing. You want it to be firm to the touch. This fish is just about there. It smells so good. It smells delicious in here. I just want everybody to know that it does smell delicious in here. And hopefully we can get this off without breaking it up too much. I don't know if we will. So we are going to take this out of the pan. This fish is more than likely to fall apart. This one luckily stayed together for us today. And this guy is going to come out. Definitely. And there is our fish. Real simple, quick cooking process. Nothing fancy. Wham, bam, done. And don't overcook it. Don't mess with it. 2 flips, that's all you need. Get it on the plate and you are good to go. So, perfect. I'm going to check these again because I know we're getting close. Nope, not quite yet.
What are you looking for when you're checking it out?
So I'm looking for the tenderness of the vegetable. I'll pull it out here. What I am looking for with the vegetables is if they're fork tender or not. And the beets, nope, because they're going to probably take the longest. And the squash will be the first to be done just because, yeah, these are perfect. We're just waiting for the potatoes to get fork tender is what we call it. And some of them are and some of them aren't. So we'll give it another good 10 minutes in there. So just to talk a little bit more, I picked the vegetables today because they are very healthy. They are packed with vitamins and nutrients. They're heart healthy. The walleye is great because it's a blank canvas. You can add to it. You can make it lemon pepper. You can make it super spicy. You can bread it. I chose to pan fry it just because it is healthier in olive oil. Like I said before, there's not going to be a lot of color on it, and that's why we have a relish to pair well with that. The green onions, I am going to sprinkle over our vegetables when they are done, just the tops of them. It'll give it some color because they are looking very beautiful in the oven, as you've seen earlier. And rather than cut these normal, I'm going to cut them on the bias to give it a little bit of something, just to give them a little. And we don't need a lot. Like I said, it's just going to be sprinkled over the vegetables when they come out. So, and we'll just set these to the side. It'll give it definitely some color. So, any questions?
Are there different types of onions that you could use instead of the green onions?
There is. I'm just looking for color. These are very mild, so they're not going to be real oniony. Or like with the balsamic vinegar relish, with the balsamic relish, the red onions are real strong. And these are more light. They're not as oniony. And it's mostly for color is why I'm using it for our roasted root vegetables. So it'll give it a pop of color afterwards. And that's kind of what we're doing. There's a lot of color in there. It's missing green, I feel. And again, it goes back to the color wheel that we are eating the different colors of the wheel and lots of vitamins and whatnot. So we want stuff to pop out as far as color goes. You get a lot of different colors, and if you're missing, that color, it's missing something, there's always parsley that you can sprinkle on. Something so simple as green onions, green peppers. For our vegetables in the oven, I was going to throw in zucchini, and I'm like, green onion will definitely rock it out. I'm just keep on looking at our vegetables like they're going to, yeah. All right, so our vegetables are done. I just was checking them to see how they were, and they are nice and tender. They are fork tender, and that's what we want. They're absolutely beautiful. But we will set them over here. And what I did was chop these up for this, and what I'm going to do is to add a little color, we're just going to sprinkle them on. Nothing fancy, a little love, as I like to call it, and that's it. Our vegetables, they came out beautiful. They're really, really nice. So we'll grab our fish, and we're going to plate up. Our fish is definitely perfect. Maybe this guy will come off. Set that over here. Relish. Definitely, we can put it over the top if we wanted to. Considering it did come out of the fridge, I'm just going to set it on the side of this to show off the nice colors. And there's more if we need it. And then for our vegetables that are so beautifully, these just came out really nice. We are going to plate up. Oops. There's a lot going on that. So again, we have a walleye that we simply fried in olive oil with salt and pepper. Made sure our pan was nice and hot, so when we stuck it in there, it made some noise. It's paired with a balsamic red onion tomato salsa. Let it hang out in the fridge with olive oil. And then we did our vegetables. We have Yukon Golds and a red onion cut bigger, beets, and squash. I chose these vegetables again because they are packed with lots of nutrients, and they have a lot of color in there. Yeah, so that pretty much sums it up. Yeah. My name is Dedra Zephier, and today we prepared a pan-fried walleye with a tomato, red onion, balsamic salsa, and roasted root vegetables, which includes butternut squash, beets, red onions, and Yukon Golds. We oven roasted them, and we pulled them out, and we topped it with a green onion. I want to thank Fabricators Unlimited for the use of their beautiful kitchen today. And I would like to thank Kyle, Richard, and Mary for their walkthrough, talk me downs. Yeah. Anybody else? Joe, thank you for the opportunity. One more time. Are you sure? Perfect. Oh yeah, I don't have to take a bite on camera, which is great.